Hi everyone, good morning and welcome to today's morning report with me, Rich Perry, market analyst at Hantech Markets. On Thursday, the 1st of October, it is the first day of the quarter and we're getting out the PMI data through the morning. So far, it's been alright, not too bad. The sentiment certainly, as we sort of have moved into the European session, has been actually pretty strong. Markets up in European trading, up over 1% across the board, so very strong reading on their CAC, FTSE and DAX today. That sort of follows a strong market in Asia and also from the States last night, so it's all feeding through into each other really at the moment, and apparently US futures are also higher today. That comes despite, I think, the sort of mixed sentiment that we've got from the Chinese PMIs really. The Chinese official data actually was slightly higher, 49.8, up from 49.7 last month, and also better than expected, 49.6. But that's sort of tempered by the Cajun China manufacturing PMI, which is the sort of unofficial data, which remains at 6.5-year lows at 47.2. So sort of mixed outlook there from the Chinese data. But the Tankan survey from Japan fell back to 12 actually from last month's 15, which is not great, and sort of opens the potential for further Bank of Japan easing, so that has probably again helped the Asian markets higher. But certainly the markets are sort of looking fairly positive today. Now, in terms of where we're at on the currencies, well, again the dollar is pretty much right bang on that sort of old pivot level. Again, that's sort of reflective of the I'd say this time and time again, reflective of the euro being around 111 figure. But the fact that cable has been so weak, and also it's strengthening against the yen as well, has been sort of meant that this dollar has slightly strengthened in the past sort of 24 hours, and that is reflective of against the majors. But interestingly, with the sentiment improving, the commodity currencies are actually performing pretty well today, especially the Aussie being up about 0.8%. Now, in terms of the Treasury yields, they're slightly rebounding today, but again, nothing too significant yet. Again, it just looks, at the moment, not getting too excited personally, because it just still looks like it's a bit of an unwind within a bear phase. So that could well still have to be played out. But the oil price is pretty decent actually, nicely supported still, and actually creeping higher. You've got this sequence of lower highs on the WTI price, but at the moment, in the last sort of day or so, we've started to find a bit more support, but it is still very much range bound, and you wouldn't want to be sort of taking a long-term view on that range yet. So that what have we got to look forward to today? Well, as I said, we've got all the PMI data. We've just pretty much had out the European data across the board, and fairly sort of in line with expectations. Sort of slight misses on France and a slight beat for the French data, slight miss on German data. Eurozone as a whole came in line at 52.0. Now, the interesting one also is a slight decline on the Swiss PMI as well, back to 49.5. So that could be one to watch with the Swiss franc, which is hence another reason why the Swiss franc is underperforming today. So we've got the UK data out at 9:30. 51.3 is the expectation. It's down slightly from 51.5, but still pretty reasonable number there. And then afternoon, we've got the ISM data. 50.6 is the expectation there, but that would be a third month of decline in a row, and also that would take you back to the lowest on this reading. Lowest since May 2013. That would be. So that would be just a bit of a sort of a nudge in the ribs of the hawks to suggest that maybe they shouldn't be sort of moving too soon. But it's interesting because there's lots of data out this week, and you've got obviously the non-farm payrolls data tomorrow, which markets will be certainly looking out for. But I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. But my chart of the day is silver, and we've had gold coming under pressure recently with the decline, with seemingly the next breakdown below 11.21. And it's interesting that we've had this move on silver, but we've not really had the selling pressure coming through yet on silver. Now we've had this sort of move back below the initial resistance, which comes in around 1470. I'll show you in a minute on the hourly chart that is again a resistance, but that certainly seems to be sort of a level at where the sellers are finding resistance in the last couple of days. So any sort of unwind back to that may be a chance to sell, but certainly looking at this on the longer term basis, you'd say that momentum indicators are negative. Stochastics certainly falling away. MACD lines again have given another crossover. Last time it had a negative crossover of any note was back in late August when we had the sharp fall away. So another sell signal there on the MACD lines, and just generally speaking, I think that silver is just going to be moving back lower. I think it's going to retest yesterday's lows initially around that sort of 1443 area, but 1424 is the initial sort of September low, and then if you sort of move further out, then you start to see that key low that we got back at 1393, back from late August. But I think that this is certainly one to sell into strength now. This 1470 sort of, I've labelled that 1470 as sort of this sort of neckline of a sort of top pattern that would certainly suggest a move back to 1424, and it's failing to get above that. So you're sort of seeing a negative configuration on these momentum indicators on the hourly chart as well. So rallies, I think, are a chance to sell. Intraday rallies, certainly a chance to sell. 1470 would be ideal, really, but I think anything sort of into this, you've got this sort of sequence of lower highs now, so anything into this sort of resistance band, 1470 maybe towards 1490 area, old resistance became new support, but breaking down again, that becomes the new resistance. So there's this band of sort of couple of 3% worth on this silver chart if you did see a rebound, but I certainly think that the outlook is negative, and it certainly would suggest, I think, further downside on in due course. So I wish you good luck in your trading today, and I will speak to you later. Thank you.